Hey guys, this is Marcel with GL. Today I want to demonstrate some of our mannequin heads holding devices. I'm going to show you 3 table-mounted clamps and 1 tripod. I'm going to show you how to set them up and use them effectively. Alright, so before we get any further, I'd like to explain you a little bit more about how the holding devices in the mannequins work. All of the holding clamps and tripods have some type of a stem like this. It's a star-shaped stem that is at the tip of the device. And the mannequin heads have a hole at their base of the neck, and these are meant to fit with each other. The stem has some grooves here, and you will see at the mannequin's base there are some ridges, and they are meant to interlock into each other. And this is, by the way, kind of a industry standard, so most products will work like that. There are some variations depending on the brand, but this is what you would be most familiar with in the industry. If you look at some of the competing products, you will see that at the mannequin's base, the whole base is plastic molded. It's a hard plastic, and although it's meant to interlock together tightly, if you don't have the exact brand of holder that goes with the brand of mannequin, you may not have a good fit. So you may end up with a mannequin that wobbles or does not hold properly. Now, the way we designed our mannequins is slightly different. We have a rubberized insert at the base of the mannequin head. This will ensure that you have an even tighter grip on the stem. It will prevent your mannequin from basically spinning around or wobble unnecessarily. So the first product I want to show you is what we call our standard holding clamp. And I have its parts here in my hands, which basically is the C clamp that goes on the table or counter. There's the stem and there's the securing device. Now this is a plastic holding clamp, but if you look closely inside, you will see that there's actual metal reinforcement. It's quite important because even though this is a small device, it will be pretty sturdy. Now to put that on the edge of a counter or a table, you're going to need a table that is 2 inches or less. Otherwise, it's not going to fit. Also, it's important that your countertop or table does not have rounded edges. That will just make this not work properly. Now, one other thing I should mention, if you have like a super expensive mahogany table, you may want to be careful because even though these have like cushioning here, it may damage the table. So I would not recommend that on very expensive tables. First, I'm going to show you how to assemble this and then how to mount a mannequin on it. So the first step obviously is to secure this bottom portion on the edge of your table, and then using that bottom screw you want to just tighten that until it's very tight. And now we have a solid foundation here. So here you're going to notice there's a little well where the ball of the stem will sit in, and you want to put that in first. And then you will slide this over, which is the adjustment screw, and you're going to just tighten that. And you're going to notice that the stem moves freely, and this is by design. This is what will eventually help you adjust the angle of your mannequin head. So you want to tighten that until it is secure. And once you have it tight enough, the stem will just stop moving and be secured. And that's fully assembled and ready to go. All right, so finally how you're going to be using this is very simple. You take your mannequin and then just insert it on the stem. And then push it down a little bit. And what I like to do is just do a couple of taps on the head, 1, 2, not too much, otherwise it's going to get stuck. But now, as you can see, if you pull on the hair, it will stay in place so you can actually do your work and all that good stuff. If you need to move your mannequin, all you do is unscrew that ever so slightly, and then you can move it around, tilt it backwards, forward, as much as you like. You can even rotate the mannequin and so forth. And once you achieved your desired position, you can just go back in and screw that here, and then you're solid again, ready to go. So that's how you use that small clamp. This product is our Deluxe holding clamp. And it's very similar to the standard one, but it has a couple additional features. As you'll notice, it comes in 5 different parts. This part is the C clamp that goes on the edge of the counter or table. It's fairly similar, although it's slightly larger construction. The adjustments is made a little bit different. You're going to recognize the stem that we talked about, and you're going to see that the adjustment tool is a bit wider and easier to use. Additionally, you're going to have extenders, and that's pretty cool if you want to raise the mannequin higher, depending on your personal height, but also if you have a mannequin with longer hair, that can become very useful. So now I'm going to show you how to set it up. This will fit on a counter or a table that is 2 inches or less. So first, we attach it to the table. So you want to screw until it's tight and this part is not moving. Now, if you've watched our previous video on the standard clamp, it's going to be a little bit similar. This part with the threads have kind of a little well, and this is where the ball is going to go in first. And second step, if you don't use the extenders, will be to get the tightening screw on top of that and just secure it down. And if you can see, it's pretty easy to adjust it. And you're going to tighten until that essentially stops moving. So you can set up, if that height would be what you prefer to work with, you can set up your mannequin head. You can just do your couple of taps, and your mannequin is secured and ready to go. And you can just unscrew that to make adjustments in positions. You can go 180 degree all around and then set it up the way you like, and then re-secure that in its position till it's locked in, and that's ready to go. Now, if you'd like to have it higher, here's the cool thing about this product. So we can just remove the screw and the stem, and we're going to go and use one of these extenders, and that's going to go and screw right here. So you want to screw that until it's tight and secure, like so. And then we just repeat the process. Just put the stem, put the screw, tighten it, and now we have a taller clamp. And if you set your mannequin on it, tap, now it's taller. That makes it easier. Like if I was to do some styling, makes it really easier for me to work on it. Now there's another adjustment we can make. Same thing here. Remove the screw, and you can add another extender piece. And then, like we did before, we put the ball in the little well, put the screw on top, secure it, and we're ready to go. So this time, if we put the mannequin on, see, now it's even higher for me to work with. So if I was a stylist, which I'm not, by the way, but if I was one and I wanted to work at a comfortable height, this would be kind of a setup that I'd like to do, because then you can work on the mannequin, you can cut the hair and do all that good stuff. So this is a product that's very good for these type of situations. This is a third clamp we have. It's an adjustable all metal clamp. I say all metal, although there are some plastic knobs and whatnot, but most of the heavy duty parts are metallic and will be super sturdy. Now this one features adjustable height. You can move this part up and down, as well as positioning your mannequins in the angle that you prefer. So this is a very quick way to work with or reposition your mannequins the way you like. And let me demonstrate how to use it. Very similar to the other clamps we have, this is a C-shaped clamp that will go on the edge of a counter or a table. And again, I would recommend a maximum thickness of about 2 inches for the table. So you just set it and then screw this until it's completely tightened. So once the screw is tightened completely, your clamp will be steady and secure. Now there are two additional knobs for adjustments. This one here will be essentially to set the height position. So you can go as high as this or as low as this. You can even push it further down if you'd like. And once you set up the height you want, you can secure that. So for our demonstration, we're just gonna raise it about 3/4 of the way, let's say. So this would be a good height. The other knob will set the top stem here, and again, you can angle it the way you like to set your mannequin on. Now, this is very similar to the other clamps we showed you. However, it's all metal, and that's the main difference. Once you secure this knob, it is tight and ready to go. So again, we set the mannequin head on the stem, and just do a couple of taps, gentle taps so that we don't get it stuck, and then if you pull on it, it's tight and good to go. Let's say during your service you want to adjust the height, you can always go back, adjust this thing here, you can raise and lower your mannequin. That's very convenient for quick adjustments. And at the same time, if you want to adjust the tilt, you can unsecure this one here. Just tilt your mannequin backwards, forward, the way you like, and then just resecure it. And then we're ready to go. Now, one thing I would like to say also is when you take your mannequin off the clamp, I would want you to avoid, first of all, pulling it from the hair or even from the side. I'd recommend putting your hand at the base of the mannequin and just lifting. This way you're going to prevent damaging or pulling any of the internal parts here. Now, if your budget allow it, we also have a tripod. This is a great product to work with mannequins, and I'm going to show you a little bit how it comes in, and we're going to show you how to set it up and use it properly. First of all, you'll notice it comes in its own little carrying bag so that you can carry it around. If you wanted to carry this in a suitcase or a school bag or something, you would need about 30 inches of length so that it fits in. But if it doesn't fit in, then you get this carrying tool. Now let's look inside. So we have the folded tripod, and inside that bag, you will see that there's a little pouch here with a little tool bag. And I want you to make sure you don't lose this. And I'm gonna come back later and explain you what this is for. So we can take the tripod out of the bag. So this is the tripod as it stands, and it's made of sturdy metal. If you ever looked at a camera tripod, it's not going to be that heavy. This one was designed specifically to work with mannequin. You can find cheaper versions out there, but I can tell you they're not going to be designed for that product. They're not going to be as sturdy. So let me go over some of the parts here. There's quite a few here. The first adjustment that you're going to be interested in is going to be this adjustment knob here. This basically helps you lower the legs of the tripod. So let's start by unfolding these legs. So your first step will be just to pop them out ever so slightly. And then we're going to come back to this portion here, and we're going to loosen that screw up. You don't want to take it all the way out. You just like unscrew it a little bit. And then you can keep tugging on the legs until you can see that is going down. And this is where you can just push on this until it becomes what looks like a tripod. I'm going to sit on the table here and just pretend for a second that this is the floor where you're going to be staging your workstation. You're going to see next there are some little what looks like pedals here, and those are foot stabilizers. So it allows you to add more stability of the tripod when you're working just by putting your foot pressure on it. Now you want this to be flush on the floor. So basically you're going to want to raise the tripod ever so slightly until this is perfectly flush. And that tells you where to screw this back on. So if this was on the floor now, you can see that I can lower all three of the foot pedals and they are flush with the floor. So that is the correct opening for the tripod. Now let's move up a little bit here. You're going to see that we have these tightening clamps here. There are two of them. So you just open them like this, close them like that, and basically that allows you to raise and lower the top portions. So you can set up the height of your tripod to whichever you like. And we're going to show you that in a minute on the floor so you can see the whole movement a little bit better. Finally, we have this adjustment here, which is for the stem that will be on the mannequin head. So you want, again, to loosen that screw. Don't take it out. And then that allows you to move the stem. And again, that goes all the way around to whichever angle you like. And once you set up the angle to your liking, then you can just secure that back on. Now this is completely tight and ready to go. This is the lowest setting that the tripod will go. Some people might find it funny, but I think if you like to work sitting down, for example, if you're going to do like a hair braid, it's not going to take you a long time, that would be a great setting. But if you extend it, you can go really high, and I will show you. So this is the first segment, and that is the second segment. I'm 5'7", so this goes pretty high. It would be a lot high, too high for me, but if you are a very tall person, that tool will still work for you. All right, now let's talk about this little tool bag that I showed you earlier. In that little tool bag, you're gonna have two different Allen keys and one little nut. This tripod should not need any adjustments once you receive it. It is set in the factory to be completely adjusted and ready to go. Over time, with use, you may end up in a situation where even though you clamp it fully, this thing will just keep going up and down, and even though this clamp is tight, it's not going to stay in place. But it's a very easy adjustment that you can do. First of all, you're going to open up the clamp, and then you're going to use that little nut here, and then with the help of the Allen key that you can thread through the hole. Basically, all you need to do is maybe give this a quarter turn clockwise, not more than that, and then try to clamp it again. And if it holds in place, you're good to go. Just remember to go in small increments because you don't want to over tighten this unnecessarily. So we just did like 1/4 turn and always clockwise to tighten. That was with the larger Allen key. There is another screw here which I would not recommend using. This would only be to be used if you wanted to actually remove or disassemble the clamp from the shaft. That's not something that would be recommended to do. All you need to worry about if this becomes loose is this top one here. That is the tool you need. Now finally, the smaller Allen key is designed to work on that little Allen screw here. Over time, it may loosen up a little bit. All you would need to do is go in here, and again, you insert the Allen key, just give it 1/4 turn clockwise, and then try again. And just do that until you can really have a tight grip, and that's as far as you need to go. This will be adjusted from factory. You do not have to mess with this, but over time, you may need. That's why I recommend do not lose these little screws. They may come in handy down the road. And now I'm going to show you how to use it. We have our assistant Charlotte here. Just as any of the other clamps, you just put the mannequin on top of that stem. Tap, 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 not too tight, and then she's ready to go. Because of the height of the tripod, if I was to start like blow drying or something, if you pull really hard on this, then we're going to have this situation here. And that's where those foot pedal comes in handy. So if I'm going to be pulling on the tripod, you can just put your foot on that stabilizer, and now it's not going anywhere. So you can just do your work, and then it will stay sturdy. If you want to adjust, again, the position of your mannequin, you're going to just loosen up this knob, and then you just move it around as much as you want, and then just re-tighten this. If you want to adjust the height which is fantastically easy. We just use these little C-clamps here, open them up, and just can move your mannequin up and down as you wish. And if you want to go even further down, you can use the other one and go as low as you want, as we showed you earlier. If you're an educator and you're at a trade show, this will be absolutely fantastic to demonstrate your techniques. Because of the way it's designed, it doesn't require a whole lot of floor space. So even if you're in a kind of a tight environment, you can easily work around it, move around, do your demonstration and so forth. It's very sturdy. It's going to last you a lifetime. This product is just genius. I sure hope you liked this video. If you did, please hit like, subscribe, and click that notification bell so to make sure you don't miss any of our future videos. Now, if you have any questions, send that in the comments and we'll get back to you. And we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.